I did also want to ask, we spoke about how far you were back with Anthony Joshua, and I spoke to Frank Smith yesterday, and I've seen him talking about, Frank told me how he went to the medicals with AJ, and they said that he was a basketball player to get him through the medicals and stuff. Obviously, we've heard Eddie talk about seeing him when he went to go see Carl Froch. I mean, for you, what is almost not even necessarily the first memory, but a memory that sticks out with Anthony Joshua, and obviously the journey we've been on and the journey that keeps on unfolding?
Wow, well, I heard about him at the Finchley ABC. Spencer Oliver was there, Derek Chisora and others. I knew of him well before the Olympics, but of course that was his big moment. And I think because of so many factors, a Londoner, a good-looking boy, articulate, funny, friendly, could punch, could fight. He just was the one that everybody wanted, and Matchroom got the signing complete of Anthony, which meant that Sky had Anthony. And so, I guess from the early professional days in 2013 all the way through, really, I've been very close to him, and it's been an incredible journey, which I think peaked in many ways on the night that he fought Vladimir Klitschko at Wembley in front of 90,000. That was an epic battle, and two gladiators and two good, honest guys, two fantastic advocates for boxing, almost like a passing of the torch. And we had everything: blood, guts, thunder, knockdowns. It was such a great fight on such a stage that I think I always thought back in April 2017 would that ever be topped. And we've had some amazing moments with Joshua since, obviously the loss in the Garden, the rematch victory in Riyadh, the first time we came to Saudi with AJ. This is his fifth one now, and he became a two-time champion. And of course, so much has happened with his career in between the fights with Alexander Usyk, the loss to Daniel Dubois, coming back, and that strange one with Jake Paul, and of course the tragedy in Nigeria where he lost two of his closest friends and aides. It's hard enough taking a professional defeat in a boxing ring, like a Dubois loss, for example, in front of 95,000 people, but it just pales into complete insignificance compared to what he had to go through in the days, weeks, months, and probably forever since what happened in Nigeria. I've lost a couple of friends in tragic accidents over the years, and it's very, very hard. I almost died. I was speaking to Spencer about his near-death experience. I nearly died through cancer, and I think when you've gone through those sort of horrible experiences in life, you value life, and you're more grateful and more humble, and you live one day at a time. And I think that's what I've seen with Anthony in the last few months. He's got himself in a really good place in terms of training with a team that he really is enjoying being around, with Alexander Usyk, the old opponent, the guy that beat him twice, and he's gone and joined them because he's a sponge and he wants to learn, and they've got a phenomenal setup in Gandia. So I think he's enjoying that. I think he's keeping himself focused on the boxing, which has become, I guess, a solace for him. I had a long sit-down interview with him the other night, and he opened up about the fact that boxing really saved him first time around, and I think it's in many ways saved him again. So, our hearts have been with him all the way through 2026 after what happened. And I think now he carries the memories of Sinner and Latz and their families, who he's doing a lot for, and will always do. And I think he probably values it all more. He seems calmer. He seems more grateful. He's always been chilled and lovely, Anthony, but he's had to fight through a boxing career, which is never easy, the twists and turns. Two-time heavyweight champion, as I said, but he's lost 4 times as well. So he's experienced it all, the ups and the downs. But now he's experienced something really tragic, really calamitous in life, really horrible. And, the fact that he walked away and his friends didn't, I think that's going to take a long time to come to terms with. But he's doing everything he can, and I think boxing has helped him, and I think he's found the solitude, the focus again, and I think he'll look to put on a really sharp performance on Saturday night. I don't see this as a comeback. I never have done, even though it's been billed as one. I see this as a continuation. I think it's just another chapter in Anthony's fascinating story. And I spoke to Eddie, and I think I am. I think everyone close to Anthony, who have been over the years, is just really proud that he's even stepping back in a ring. It's hard enough being a fighter, but a fighter under that pressure, always looking for somebody to beat you or to perform every time, and having to do that under the sort of cloud of what he's been through in the last 7 months. What an astounding human being.
Definitely, I think even during my short time in boxing, a word that is paired with Anthony Joshua all the time, and you will have heard it from your time at Sky and now at DAZN, is an inspiration not only to young children but to fighters coming up, especially in Britain, but also across the world. I mean, for you and the journey that you've been on with AJ and you've seen him go on, a word that I keep on hearing him talk about is maturity, from lessons in the ring, outside of the ring. Is that what you think is key to Anthony Joshua in this stage of his chapter in his career, just that maturity throughout life?
I think he's always been fairly mature for his age, but of course now he's coming close to 37. He's in the last chapters of the career, which has gone on 13 years, 34th fight on Saturday night. Pretty much everyone has been a thriller in some way, shape or form, so he owes us nothing. He's been a poster boy, transcended boxing in so many ways, selling out stadiums. I mean, he's a one-off, really. We talk about Ricky Hatton being a one-off. We talk about Lennox Lewis being our greatest heavyweight, Joe Calzaghe probably our greatest fighter, but AJ's certainly been as an attraction for casual fans, for boxing fans. And my whole family love Anthony, male, female, they just adore him. They either want to be his best mate or they fancy him or something, but he just has that, and he's such a nice guy that goes with it. So I think, yes, he's always had a maturity and a good head on his shoulders, but I think even more so from the experiences that he's had in and now out of the ring particularly, it's helped shape him, and I think he really is grateful. I mean, he sent a belt to TalkSport this week, and some of them have been very critical of him and his performances in the past, and yet he sort of rises above it. And I think, as I said, when you've been through the really, really difficult rock bottoms, I think you have an appreciation for life much more. Different comparison, but when I went through my cancer, I didn't think I'd get through it, and I think the consultant that saved my life probably didn't think I'd get through it either. And I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and it was almost like a miracle, and I'm so grateful and humble and appreciative now of being back around boxing that I love and having a mic in my hand, and I can really connect. And I think with Spencer, Anthony and I the other night, we connected because all of us have had very difficult experiences in life, and I think that before I had that, I didn't think the same way, but I can see a calmness, I can see almost a helicopter view that AJ takes now. That why stress about that? Why stress about some criticism? Why even get worried about the fight's going to happen? I'm going to win, I'm going to lose, we're going to move on. It's not the be all and end all, which I think maybe it was at one point. For a young fighter it is winning a world title, but I think now he's done that. I think everything that he achieves now is a bonus, but it's for himself and it's for his inner circle. He's a loyal soldier. He's got the same sort of people around him that he's always had. He's added to it with trainers, and he's tried different things out because he's a sponge, but I think he respects every trainer that he's had, from Robert McCracken to Derek James to Ben Davison recently. Everyone that's sort of gone and helped him along the way. And Spencer said he used to do that at Finchley. He'd go to Finchley and he'd go off and take his gloves and go around to some of the other gyms. I think it's fantastic he's ended up in Gandia, and he's gone to Usyk's camp. It's a wonderful story. But like when Hay and Chisora had that wild fight, and then they ended up going together. Jamie Moore and Matt Macklin had that brilliant fight, and they ended up one of them training the other. And that's what boxing does. It provides these strange stories where souls get fused, and I think AJ is in as good a place as he can be, and I think he's ready to get back under the lights, and he's done a huge amount of hard work, but he's got a fight to win. He's got a guy in front of him who, yes, he's never fought anywhere near the level that Joshua has, but he's got a great record. He's got 20 knockouts in 20 victories. He's younger than him. He's got more momentum, albeit at a much, much lower level and off the grid. No saying that Christian Prenga can't step up and do something on Saturday night. Not many people think it will be enough to derail Anthony. I'm sure it will be a pretty emphatic performance by Joshua, but it's dangerous at heavyweight. One punch can change things, and he knows more than anyone what happened in the garden to him against Andy Ruiz. I'm not saying Christian Prenga is anywhere near Andy Ruiz's level, but you never know. He's been down 9 times. He's lost on 4 occasions. You know, the last big fight he had, really, take Jake Paul aside, was Daniel Dubois, and that went horribly wrong. So based on that performance 2 years ago, Christian Prenga will be thinking, hey, why not? No pressure on my shoulders. Take this opportunity. The worst that can happen is I go down fighting and get knocked out, but what a chance I've got to rewrite the script. And he'll get inspiration from what Rico Verhoeven did to Alexander Usyk. Surprised him and went much better than people thought. And another one I was thinking of the other day was Danny Williams going in against Mike Tyson, and everyone's saying that Danny Williams was scared of opponents and that he used to get sick on the way to fights, and he was sort of mentally always had demons, whatever. He went out and stood up to the baddest man on the planet and knocked him out. So they're heavyweights. Things can happen. I don't expect it to happen, but Christian Prenga will, and his team will believe until the opposite. But I hope he goes in there and gives it a real good go, a real account of himself, because even if he doesn't get any success on Saturday night, going down courageously will be massive for him, because there's a huge heavyweight pot out there and there's a lot of money and fights to be made. So I'm sure they're all looking at trying to take Joshua down, take Fury down. I don't think it will happen in the next 48 hours. I think both Tyson and AJ will come through. And then we'll look to the next heavyweight instalment with Moses and Hrgovic, and obviously the big one, should it be made official in November somewhere in the world.
Definitely. It'd be wrong of me, Adam, to not ask about your experiences in Gandia. In boxing, as fans, we see kind of the products, the fight night, the fight week, but you've had an insight into Alexander Usyk, who will go down as one of the greats, wherever people rank him. He will go down as one of the very best heavyweights. You've seen the processes and what goes on in that camp. I mean, if you could provide an insight in that. And also with Usyk, he goes down as one of the smartest fighters we've seen at heavyweight, and the planning, the watching of the tape, is that something that you think will be implemented more into this Anthony Joshua?
I think in time, Alexander Usyk will be seen as one of the greatest fighters of all time, and not just from what he's achieved as an amateur, which was extraordinary, Olympic gold medalist, of course, among many, many other medals. Not only for the fact that he cleaned up at cruiserweight, twice at heavyweight, and he remains undefeated. The last performance wasn't great against Verhoeven, but every fighter has a rough night. And he'll fight again, and I'm sure Usyk will be remembered as the best of our generation, and maybe equals some of the best of any other generation. I think it's what he stands for as well. The fact he utilises his talent with discipline and dedication and hard work. He's a family man. He's a beacon of light for Ukraine. Getting into that camp in Gandia, I worked for Ready to Fight for a few months, and with Sergei Lapan and the team, and I was very privileged to be part of that, and I got very close in, and what I learned in there is exactly that, the discipline and dedication. He said to me, it's 1% talent and it's 99% dedication, hard work, grit, determination. And I've seen some incredible things in my time in boxing. I never thought I'd see a gym fighter that impressed me more than Floyd Mayweather or maybe Roy Jones. But I couldn't believe what I saw in the whole setup in Gandia. It is utterly professional. They have something for everybody. Everyone has a role to play in there. There's a scientist, a nutritionist, doctors. It's an unbelievable team. And everybody, they work as a team. And Alexander is just one of that team. He's a clog in the team just because he goes out and does the fighting. They work on balance, which is unbelievable. Some of the things he does, some of the tricks he does, some of the reaction drills he does, the 4-minute rounds of sparring, the warm-ups with tennis. His swimming is like an Olympic swimmer. It's just, it was an honour to be there, and I've said to Moses, who of course is trained by one of the great trainers in boxing, in my opinion, Ben Davison. I think he's phenomenal what they do there. And Moses has been everywhere. He sparred with AJ, he sparred with Tyson, and if he doesn't fight Usyk, he should certainly try and get into that training camp. Maybe take Ben with him and go and have a look at it. And what other better southpaw to learn from? Southpaw heavyweight. That's where Moses has got a massive advantage. Alexander Usyk is a brilliant fighter, IQ and everything, but he's a brilliant human being. So to be around him, I think for Anthony, to have him saying, Anthony, you're going to become undisputed heavyweight champion, that's got to give him a ton of confidence. And they'll be working on just little things. They're not going to change him as a fighter. He is who he is, Anthony. he is the style he is, but they'll just work on little bits and movement and feints and stuff around the ring that they can just help him with, and how to deliver punches maybe in a slightly different way. Maybe he'll go back to more what Rob McCracken taught him with that big thunderous jab and the right hand. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to see. Of course, we saw the Jake Paul fight, but I think for then he just wanted to ease himself back after Dubois, get some rounds in. It'd been a long time out of the ring. Now we go again. It's the mental battle and what he's going to think in the ring this time. If he executes the plan and he boxes to the ability that I've heard that he's been showing in Gandia, then I think he'll be looking good on Saturday night. But yeah, it's a very, very special place, and if you ever have the chance to get over and witness it, they're special people.
We're here for Anthony Joshua. I do just want to briefly touch on Tyson Fury, who tonight fights someone bigger than him for the fourth time in his career. It's the first time since 2011. I mean, to you, you've seen everything in boxing. Like I say, extraordinary things do happen. What do you see happening with Tyson Fury and Marius White tonight? Not that we're going to see it.
I think Marius Fac's the perfect choice for Tyson Fury. He's so experienced. He's also been in Usyk's camp many times. He's played the part of Tyson Fury as the sparring partner for Usyk. So I've got to know Marius pretty well over the years. He's a very familiar face. He's old now. He's been in with everybody. Yeah, not many people take him out. Moses did fairly early, and I remember him telling me how good Moses is and how he couldn't deal with the sort of speed and angles. I think Tyson will use it as... I think the training camp's been the most important thing. Back-to-back training camps is what he wanted. He wanted 2 fights before Joshua, and that's what he's getting. He looks light, and I think that he hasn't had that time out of camp. He's retired umpteen times, but this time he said, right, I'm back. I want the Joshua fight. I want to see what the last few have in me, and I think this is a good sign that he's looking light. I think that he'll go rounds with Marius Fac. I think that will be the plan. I don't see any point of him trying to get rid of him like Moses did. I think he'll just go in, get a few rounds under the lights, whatever lights there are there in a smaller venue. And yeah, it's a strange one. I was trying to get out to Thailand. I was going to fly in the early hours of this morning, but couldn't quite get back in time. So, like you, I'm going to have to try and find it somehow on social media, or find clips of it, or ask Oscar Bevis or Dev Sani, who are there, what it was like. But Spencer's coming back tomorrow. Whether Tyson comes, who knows? They say he's not. Well, you never know with Tyson. He'll turn up if he wants to. But Spencer Brown's coming because, of course, he's got Hamza Shiraz and others. So it'll be interesting to see what they think. But I think it's just an exercise, and why not do it at his training base in Thailand? He feels at home out there. So yeah, let's see what happens. I think he'll get a number of rounds under his belt. Whether that goes the whole distance, who knows? I don't think that's really important. I think it will be not even shedding rust. He did that against Makhmudov. I think it's just getting into a rhythm, and it's making sure that he keeps light, keeps right, and that he's had 2 camps going into the Joshua fight. That's what's key for Tyson.
Something that you'll know and we all know, sparring is sparring, especially sparring that happens in 2009. But we all remember that interview where Tyson speaks about sparring Anthony Joshua, and he praised Anthony Joshua, something that we don't see a lot. This week he said that AJ had to be pulled out in the 4th round of that sparring, and he made it seem like Fury had his way with Anthony Joshua. I mean, again, sparring is sparring, but from what you know and maybe what you've heard in the industry, what do you make of Fury's comments this week?
Someone told me Anthony knocked him out. Someone told me he hurt him. Someone told me Fury played with him. I mean, sparring, right? I was there when Daniel Dubois and AJ sparred, and that was very interesting. And I remember Anthony talking to me about that before he fought Daniel on Fight Week. Sometimes you can get confidence from that. What I do know is that the fight, however many years later, will be very different. They're seasoned, hardened professionals, maybe not quite what they once were either, which could level the playing field. I've always thought Tyson would be a difficult style for Anthony, but maybe the reflex is not quite what they were with Tyson, which is why probably he's staying camp to camp now to try and keep that speed, which is so important to him. But he's obviously had his ups and downs, the weight putting on, the dramatic fights he's had too, and maybe AJ's slightly fresher, and it'll be interesting to see what happens when they do get in the ring. But it's a 50-50 fight at this stage. I'm just so pleased that it will finally be made, because we waited too long for Mayweather Pacquiao and for Khan and Brook. We never got Lewis and Bowe. We never got Calzaghe, Froch or Hatton Witter, and others escaped us. So it'd just be good to see them in the ring. It's a great story. They're fantastic characters, and it's a generational thing, and it sort of takes this generation out. And in come the Moses Atamas and the Agate Kabayels and the others and the new blood. So I think it's a fight that needs to happen, and whether it's too late or it happens in America or whatever, we're going to get them in the ring, which I think is all important, because there's been times when I've been at Sky that it so nearly happened. One thing I can tell you, Max, is that both fighters have always wanted this fight. They have never ducked this fight. And people say, oh, AJ's didn't want it for a certain time. He did want it. Maybe business people thought it wasn't the right fight at the right time or whatever, and Tyson wanted it, because I remember him screaming down the phone at me to make it happen. And look, ultimately it's money, it's business, and His Excellency has come together, and the fight's been made, so they're going to get paid what they need, and it's going to happen where it happens. It should happen in Britain, but it looks like it probably won't. But wherever it happens, Vegas, New York, or Saudi, or wherever it lands, I think it just will be a moment in time where we'll be pleased it's happening, and we'll look back at it and say the two of them finally met. And whether the fight lives up to it, who knows? But the build-up will, and it'll be terrific. And I think what's most important is that the casual fans come back, and that's what we need. It's all very well with the Bivol and Betebievs, that the amazing fights we get, the hopefully Inoue and Bam, and these great fights, Canelo even and Crawford, and all these sort of fights which are fantastic for us and huge in boxing. But still, the people on the street, if you ask the football fan on the street, they want to see Joshua and Fury. Maybe they want to see it more than the boxing trade want to see it, but that's a great indication, because we've got misfits now, we've got different ways that people are watching boxing. Zuffa's come in, DAZN have got all the promoters under one umbrella, which is a fantastic place to be, the home of boxing. But it's great. Competition, Sky back in on it, Netflix. It's great. It's great for fans. And there's so much boxing going on at the moment that, we need that fight to happen, because the casuals will come in and lap every minute of it up, and it will be front and back page for a while, and that's what we live for in our sport.
Just to wrap up this, what is going to be an AJ Fury special? That's all we've spoken about so far. But I mean, say all goes well and Tyson Fury maybe does fly in on Saturday, and we get this long-awaited face-off that it shocks me it's never happened before. Do you kind of believe in the narrative that maybe the longer this fight has taken to go on and the later it happens, it maybe plays into AJ's hands more? Because Fury, we know the elusive style, maybe the older you get, that could go not out the window, but it's not as sharp. Do you play into that narrative at all, or not?
Potentially, yeah. Tyson's the more natural boxer, fighter, if you like, on his feet, and I think the Wilder trilogy and other wars he's had have definitely slowed him. I thought it was a decent performance against Makhmudov, nothing more. But then when was Joshua's last sort of great performance? You've got to go back as well. So I think both of them need to sort of stamp their mark in the next 48 hours and remind us of what they can do. Maybe we need to see a light, quick Fury against Vac, and we need to see a destructive Joshua, and that will just sort of set it all back and think, okay, who's going to win this? And maybe after what they do in the next 48 hours, people will swing again. Would it fancy Joshua more if he goes in and does a number on Prenger in emphatic fashion? And people will say, oh, maybe AJ can knock him out. Tyson looked a bit slow, but ultimately it'll come down to the two of them fighting. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I've always seen it as a close fight. There's times where I thought, this might be the time where Tyson put on the weight and came back, and then there's times where I thought, no, definitely Tyson's style's wrong for AJ. But now I think it's more of a level playing field. They're wiser, they're older, they maybe sit down on their punches a little bit more, and let's see. And who wants it more as well? That might come down to it. Tyson sometimes says, oh, the big dosser, if I fight him, I'll fight someone else, whatever. He just wants Usyk again. Sometimes he's sort of, because he says so many different things, you don't quite know how much he wants to beat Joshua. But I do know how much AJ, or certainly Eddie, wants to get one over on Tyson Fury. So it might come down to, if it's a tough 12-round fight, who wants it that bit more. But listen, there'll be plenty of time to talk about that one if and when it happens. But I think that, the narrative will change in people's minds. We just don't know. It's a speculation until it actually happens. The fact they've never come head-to-head, face-to-face. I mean, we had the opportunity at Tottenham, but AJ didn't want to play ball. I'm the landlord. Maybe Tyson won't turn up on Saturday night and say, look, he didn't bother for me, so therefore I'm not bothering for him, and we'll have to wait for His Excellency and to make an announcement next week and get them together again. But I'd love to see Tyson come tomorrow night. It'd be brilliant him flying in and making an appearance and getting in the ring and trying to drum it up. That's what we love. We love stories in boxing. We love hooks, and there's no better clash of characters, of heavyweights of this generation than Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. So let's hope they turn up, and Spencer Brown will be there. Will he be with his big boy? I don't know. And will the big boy be saying, "Big Dosser, let's get it on"? We'll wait and see. That's what boxing's all about.
Definitely. Just, I promise, the absolute last one. I was speaking to Carl Frampton just then, who told me a story of his lucky suit, which I'll let you speak to Carl about. And I spoke to Ajako's brother, who told me just how up Keegan Ajako is for this fight. I mean, just people are going to watch it. For people that maybe aren't aware of this fight, why should you watch Josh Kelly versus Ajako this week?
Lucky suit, was it? Antoka Kachi, Carl wore it for. And Keegan's a good fighter, and he's really, really up for this. I spent a lot of time with him this week. He's waited his opportunity. He's earned his chance. He was a brilliant amateur. Is he good enough to beat Josh Kelly? We'll find out Saturday night. We know Josh, when he performs like he did winning the world title on his night in Newcastle, he's beautiful to watch. He's such a talent. But we also know that Keegan is a very, very talented guy himself. I like the fact that he's got huge foundations as well. Josh went to the Olympics, but he's had about 150 amateur fights, Keegan, as well as his unbeaten professional run. So he doesn't know what it's like to taste defeat. Yes, there's been a couple of close calls, but it seems to me that with Stephen Smith, he feels he's in a really good place. I spoke to Josh last night. He said he thinks that he's flapping now and that he's getting to him, and I think Keegan will tell you exactly the opposite, that he's more confident than ever, and as he said at the presser, he'll walk through walls. It was a fantastic head-to-head. It's what you want. It's a cracking dust-up for a world title fight between two very, very good boxers. And I think that it'll be just interesting to see if Keegan can negate Josh's rhythm and movement, because he's so beautiful on his feet when he needs to be. And if he gets in a groove, Kelly, I think he could be too classy. But it could be a very, very tough fight, and it would not surprise me if Keegan became a world champion. It's a close one to call, but I think you've got to edge on experience and obviously on the form he's in, and defending that world title. You've got to probably lean slightly towards Josh Kelly, but it could be close, it could be controversial. We've seen quite a lot of Keegan's fights like that, and I think he's going to leave it all in the ring. It's just whether it's quite enough. But I tell you what, you shut your eyes at the press conference, and Carl hadn't even landed. I mean, he just sounds exactly like him, doesn't he? It was like listening to Carl Frampton. Intelligent guy, nice guy. They're both good guys, and although there's been a bit of that, there'll be plenty of respect afterwards. But yeah, it's a big prize for the winner, boots and other huge fights. I know Josh wants to fight in the Stadium of Light, so it could be that Josh has now found his mojo, and that he's got his maturity, and that now he's the real deal, and he'll be a world champion for a while. But first defence, maybe always the hardest, not an easy one, a very, very tough fight. It's the fight of the night, I think.
Definitely, Adam. You know how much I appreciate your time. Thank you very much today.
No problem.